Hey there traders, happy Monday close. We're after the close on Monday before the open on Tuesday. The tape gave us exactly what we needed: clean levels, real rotation, and a macro backdrop that's still feeding opportunity. So let's break down what mattered into the close, what would flip the tone before the bell on Tuesday, and the trade setups I'm stalking at the open. So let's jump straight into it and start cooking. So scoreboard and character of the day. Here we go. On the right, we're able to see the scoreboard after Monday. So S&P 500 closed at 6,615 and 28 cents, a fresh record high. The Nasdaq Composite at 22,348.78, also a record close. The Dow Jones at 45,883.45 cents, still elevated, though it is lagging ever so slightly. And the Russell 2000 at $2,408, showing some small cap fatigue. Mega cap tech held serve, healthcare kept leadership vibes. Small caps tried to rotate but couldn't fully take the baton, and energy stayed choppy. Internals were constructive. Advances beat decliners most of the day, while volume was respectable, but definitely not euphoric. That's accumulation, not mania. So let's get into the macro pulse, rates, dollar, and commodities. You can see gold over here. So rates, the 10-year yield eased off its recent spike, just enough relief to keep high multiple growth comfortable. Watch it into Tuesday. Another drift down equals tech tailwind, and a surprise pop will be fade leaders on strength. The dollar slightly softer, good news for exporters and multinationals. A dollar reversal overnight could pinch commodities. And then talking about commodities, oil stayed heavy on demand and supply angst. Good for headline inflation optics, but bad for energy equities. Gold firmed up again. Proof institutions are still hedging. That's the risk on a safety bet posture we've seen for weeks. Alright, let's talk a bit about rotation under the hood now. And firstly, we're talking about healthcare. So the balance sheets and margins were a steady bid. Dips to VWAP got bought all day, and leaders keep acting like leaders. Now, Oracle, being an AI company, we're talking about AI. We're talking about AI, cloud, and semi-stabilizing now. So buyers defended key moving averages and reclaimed VWAP on pullbacks. So that was constructive. You can also see here, Oracle rises to top 10 US company by market value. So absolutely soaring over the last few days. And also here, 8 most valuable AI-related companies make up 30% of the S&P 500. So that's pointing towards the strength of the S&P right now as it hovers around all-time highs. So in financials, lower yields keep net interest margins under pressure, and weakness persisted. On the energy side, crude weakness capped rallies. On the energy side, it was two-sided. Crude weakness capped rallies. The space is scalpers territory, not trending territory right now. Alright, what can move us pre-bell? Well, overnight data, any PMI or inflation-sensitive prints will shove yields and futures. Micro catalysts, a few pre-bell earnings in software and retail sympathy flows likely, and liquidity. Tuesdays typically offer better trend follow-through than Mondays. Expect cleaner setups 30 to 60 minutes after the bell. Alright, so that is our sector rotation for today. Something else that we were seeing was news on the labor market. So this is related to what we had previously thought earlier was not going to be as bad as it is. However, seems like news is coming in suggesting the otherwise. Job growth stalling before Trump's tariff, and revision estimate comes days after the weak August non-farm payrolls. So something to keep an eye on in the coming days there as we continue to see some change. And lastly, the housing market. So continued news coming out regarding that. And this is being driven across big platforms, so not only on Reuters but on some other news sites too. So something we got to keep in mind there too. So now taking a look at some trade setups, I've prepared a couple of them here for us today. The first one is an AI and cloud momentum name. So we're looking at Oracle, ticker symbol ORCL. So why are we taking a look at this? Well, huge cloud backlog, breakout strength, and sector leadership all bode very well. So our long trigger for Oracle will be to break and hold pre-market high with volume and sector confirmation, looking at XLK SMH. So a short fade, if early pop fails VWAP in the first 15 minutes, fade into yesterday's midpoint. And a stop, there'll be a hard stop under opening range low. Alright, then let's jump into healthcare. We're going to take a look at UnitedHealth, ticker symbol UNH. And this is our healthcare defensive play today. So healthcare is showing leadership and United Healthcare is liquid and steady. So that being said, our long trigger would hold above Monday's ORH plus a VWAP reclaim. The target would be prior day's high, then measured opening range extension. And the risk would be lose VWAP and XLV, healthcare ETF, rolls, then cut it quick. Okay, our third stock for today is Alamos Gold, ticker symbol AGI. So we're going to hedge with teeth with Alamos Gold. Why, you ask? Well, gold futures holding highs, AGI strong breakout candidate. So for a long trigger, we want session high and volume expansion while gold futures stay bid. And a short scalp, we want a big gap plus immediate supply, then we can fade back to gap base. Just a note to keep in mind, if bullion cracks, step aside. No orphan longs, traders. Alright, last one, Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA. Here we go. So this is our volatility magnet. Why do you ask? Well, active trader favorite. Headlines and flows keep it hot, so everybody loves Tesla. Alright, bull path. If ORH breaks and VWAP hold with strong volume, then a fade setup spike that can hold VWAP in the first 20 minutes. Short scalp back to yesterday's midpoint. And risk, we need to be disciplined. Tesla reverses fast, so we got to stay nimble, light on our toes. Alright, let's talk futures and tape tells for Tuesday. Index VWAP. If futures hold VWAP on first pullback, lean long in leaders. If they lose VWAP, tighten up everything. Brett, if advances and up volume dominate by 10 a.m., trend day probability is higher. So split tape equals scalp city. And then liquidity pockets. ORH and ORL from the first 15 minutes and Monday's HOD, LOD will act as magnets. Alright. Let's talk a little bit about risk framework. So start small, scale only on confirmation. Confirmation will be VWAP holding, ORH retest, and sector confirmation. One invalidation, traders, and we're out. Don't negotiate with stops. Scale out into strength, leave runners only if trend structure supports it, and no thesis trades. Trade what prints. Alright, closing out today. Too long didn't read. S&P at all-time high. Nasdaq 2. Dow 45,883 and 45 cents. And the Russell $2,405.13. The macro rates eased. Dollar softer. Gold firm. Constructive risk backdrop. Sector rotation. Healthcare leads. AI and cloud is stable. Discretionary mixed energy is fragile. And trade setups, healthcare continuation, AI, cloud, bellwether, gold miner hedge, and an energy tactical short. So trade the confirmation, not the hype, and I'll see you on the bell on Tuesday. Let's execute, traders. Take care. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video.